just try to reserve your judgments and have an open mind. Because what I have to share, because of my astrological placements, is something I've learned about myself in the last few years. And one of the things I know about my astrology, which, by the way, I would be happy to do a reading for y'all. I put my rates up everywhere on all my media. I have a booking site, and I do my readings on the phone. And I'm doing these videos, even though I'm not on it, so I can get more comfortable on camera. Because, believe it or not, as bold and upfront and direct as I am, I'm really shy on camera. And that probably has something to do with childhood trauma or something, like not wanting to be seen out of like fear of like being damaged, essentially, because it's happened to me a lot in my life. But anyways, my astrology, I have 5th house Scorpio, okay? And for other astrologers, you'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense. But not only do I have 5th house Scorpio, I have Vesta in Scorpio. And that is the sign of the shaman, the high priestess, the mystic, the one that'll go deep with you, like Persephone level deep, okay? And it wasn't until I lost my complete power after recovering my health that I was able to like rise from that. Yes, stereotypically, like the phoenix. And I've come from being a phoenix in the last year and realizing that I don't have to burn everything in my path or predict everything in order to show up and be myself. I also don't need to explain myself anymore. You know, people who live with trauma, they're constantly being told not to be themselves. And that creates this like need, this compulsion to explain your existence to people. So it's not insecurity when people do that. It's literally like conditioning. It's harm that has been done to children specifically because it's early childhood development, and it's escalated into adulthood if it isn't treated properly. So because of my past, I suffer from neurological dysregulation. And again, I'm not a mental health provider, but I've always been fascinated by psychology since I was a little girl. Same with astrology. Like, I got into astrology because I realized I could study people that way. And when you're worried about your survival, you study people. It's an instinctive thing. It's also what creates empaths, by the way. There's a lot of research into this. You should look into it if you haven't. I'm not talking about, oh my God, all this stuff is being put on me. Oh no, I'm not going to take accountability for my shit and just be a victim. No, that's not an empath. That's somebody who's wounded, who hasn't come into their power. And there was a time and place where I was that person. But guess what, honey? I haven't been that person in many, many years. Mama's got her power. Mama's got her intelligence. And I'm here to lead others. I have that in my birth chart too. So like the last few years after I like came out of serious illness and recovered, despite lacking support in my family, I did that. Me, not you. I still invested all of myself into others until I couldn't anymore. Like, I've written about this before where it's like, if you, I'm blanking. That's the neurological dysregulation. So, like, again, I'm a very authentic person because I'm always who I am. I lead with integrity. So, like, again, if you're judging me, like, stop. You don't, I want to help you, but I'm not going to sacrifice me for the other. Like, that's something we've all learned with Libra, Aries, polarity axis with the north and south nodes that has been going on for almost 2 years. This last eclipse in Libra really like chapter, and it became new beginnings for how we relate to others. Anyways, I'm not really here to talk about astrology today, but it's part of who I am, so like I may dip into it. I am not an advanced student of evolutionary astrology, but I have been studying it casually for like 6 years now. So I may dip into like the deeper astrology, because in case people hadn't realized, we're not just one sign. Okay? There are 12 signs in the zodiac, and there are 12 houses of a birth chart. And within those houses are other signs, and each sign is ruled by different planets. I could go on and on. I keep telling people, like, there are over 4,000 ways to approach a birth chart. So that's why each astrologer is unique in that way, because everybody's going to like be intuitively led to speak about it for others, how they're called to do so. So like there's no right way to do astrology, but what I can tell you is people who got into pop astrology because they think they can make a buck, or people who claim to be psychics who are not, and they just feed off of other people, that's not what I resonate with, and that's not who I am. And it took me a long time to be comfortable with that and embracing my woo-woo side, because I didn't want to be lumped in. The funny thing about going inward and living in deep seclusion for 6 years is you have to deal with yourself. So I realized that I'd been doing this work with my friends, and then I lost some friendships because I was too honest. Like, I made the mistake of thinking that people genuinely wanted to do the work. And I realize now that I'm not supposed to do that with my inner circle so much unless it's asked for. But I'm supposed to do it with the collective. And that's why I've stepped up. And it's been a long unfolding to get to this point. Anyways, so this is a spiritually led video, and we're almost at 15 minutes. I apologize for a lengthy intro, but it's like, again, this is what it is. Just not to explain myself, but to help you understand what neurological dysregulation is. When your amygdala is stimulated in the hippocampus, your nervous system starts to go on overdrive. And what that means is different parts of the brain get lit up. So the amygdala rules your fear center, right? And there's not just fight or flight, there's freeze and fawn. So fight is obviously, oh my God, you start screaming at somebody, which I will admit, like, there was a time in my life where I had no emotional regulation. And by the way, emotional dysregulation is different. That's behavioral. That can be worked on. And I did the work. So like, I don't really get pushed to anger like I used to, because I understand the full picture now. And that's something I want to help other people understand about themselves, because this is not an uncommon phenomena. Like childhood trauma, adult PTSD, all that kind of stuff is real. It's in every facet of our lives. And there's a small percentage of the population that are fortunate enough to not be affected by PTSD. And it's less than the whole. Okay? So, circle back around. Again, I will always try to loop a point back in, so just like hang in there with me, because I'm an intuitively led person. I have a Cancer rising and a Pisces sun sign, but I have a Taurus moon, which really does help me stay grounded for the most part. I meant to do a meditation before I started this video, but I was feeling the flow, I was feeling the energy, And like, as I think about it, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm being way too vulnerable here. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, having courage doesn't mean you aren't afraid. It means you're freaking terrified, but you do it anyways. Yeah, there's cliche quotes, but why are things cliche? Because there's a reason, because it means something deeper, because it's true. Um, and I do speak in bumper stickers, so deal with it. When you get comfortable with who you are and you've done the work, like you just don't care anymore. You become more confident. And coming from a life where I had my confidence stripped in almost every single relationship I've ever had, it took a lot for me to build up my identity again, which, by the way, yet again, is in my birth chart. And a few years ago, it all started to make sense. And um, I've kind of had this incredible transformation from it. And I've had validation from other people in the astrological community who do evolutionary astrology, like validating my truth. It really can be expressed. And you really can grow, and you really can learn, and you aren't helpless. Like, everything has an energy. Okay, I'm starting to get into it now. I might channel because I am a psychic medium, which is something I only realized in the last year. So some of this might be from spirit, and some of it's just my own work I've done on myself. So I'll take a deep breath, because I'm trying to get out of these lower energies I just came from, and like raise up and stabilize so I can really be here for everybody else, because that I really am supposed to be here to serve others. And let's take that breath. Okay, ready? Let's take another one. One more. When you breathe in, imagine you're pulling your energy back. And when you breathe out, imagine all that is not serving you anymore out. It's a very easy regulating tool. It's a short meditation tool. It's something I recommend highly. Anyways, so let's deep into the witchy side, okay? I don't share as much about my spiritual beliefs on my page. I mean, I'll hint at it. It's more about like soul growth and stuff like that. But there are many facets to me. I'm a creative person. I'm an intellectual. I am many things. Okay, so like you can't pin down myself. So it's all integrated. When you do the work, you can integrate yourself. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is claiming responsibility for your own mother effing shite. I'm trying not to curse. Just give me a little credit. I'm trying. I am. But I'm dealing with a head cold right now still. I'm almost over it. I've been working my magic and doing remedies and all that, but I get a little cranky when I'm not feeling well. And on top of not feeling well, I've dealt with 4 days of intense psychic attack. Okay? And people don't really understand what a psychic attack is. But when you're a psychic medium, empath, healer, and you're in tune with spiritual forces because you have a daily practice, and you work with other people in the community, and you help other people like attune to these energies, it's a knowing. It's a claircognizance. And I have a lot of clairs in my life. And the more I've developed in the last year, the more I'm realizing everybody has it. Everybody can tap into that. It's just a matter of desire and what your soul is here to do in this lifetime, which is why I don't judge other people for not getting my work, but they judge me. And that's the thing. When you are a spiritual person and you've done the work on yourself, people don't want you to be happy. People that used to pull you down and dysregulate you because it regulates them will always throw poison and shade at you when you are happy. And they say that success is the best vengeance. Well, I'm not here to get vengeance. You get that? Like, I'm here to help people because I help myself. And if you only knew what I've had to go through in my life, and I'm not saying it's the worst life, okay? But it's valid and it's been backed up, and my experience is real. And I used to have to hide from that because I was scared and I was wounded and I was hurt and I was abandoned. But I overcame that, which is why I'm writing my story. But I'm not writing it to expose other people. I'm writing it because it's healing. And because I know from conversations with other people and whatnot that it's useful. I've seen other people in this field do this work who are genuine and authentic. They're not just trying to be spiritual healers because it's trendy or woo-woo or whatever. Like, just like pop astrologers who learn the basics, but they don't really connect with it. Okay? I connect. I'm starting to debate if I should just stop this video and start over. This is a good release, but I'm going to try to hang in there and not get too shy and like pull back because I don't want to like talk about my personal life, but too much. Maybe there will come a time when I can, but when you've experienced a lifetime of trauma, like talking about the past can actually bring you back to that and cause emotional flashbacks. And then the brain starts dysregulating. When you go into fear mode, you're, because of the neuro disadvantage, you stop functioning in your wise mind. And I've worked very hard for a very long time using mindful practices, not because I'm cute. I use mindful practices because it kept me alive. There's no other way to put it. Like, the work I've done on myself was to survive. And I've hinted at that. I'm going to pace this out a little. Hopefully the audio is not too bad. I'm sharing this because I think more people need to be authentic. And the only way to get other people to be more authentic is to be authentic yourself. And when you're an empath, sometimes you can be a mirror. And I spend my life being a mirror for others, being totally lost from myself and absorbed into who they were. And unfortunately, like attracts like when it comes to your experience. When you've had, specifically in my case, and it isn't limited to this, and I won't talk about who or what or where or why, but when you've had narcissistic abuse, like legitimate, it F's you up. And it's your normal. It's your normal to sacrifice yourself to feel worthy because your needs weren't met. And the more I talk about my personal life, the more I get kind of like, I call it activated, not triggered, because my neuro functioning goes down. But because I've done the work, I can actually pull it back. So it is a legitimate disability, and that's something I don't like talking about because people get scared. They're like, they don't understand it. And the thing is I'm trying to help people because they can have a semblance of a normal life if they are brave and they have proper support. I didn't have proper support until I found a golden therapist like 10 years ago, okay? And my truth was validated by a professional, and I did the work. And I'm not ashamed of that anymore. Like, people can't push me down anymore. And I want other people to feel that. I want other people to know that no one can push you down, that you are strong, you are capable, and you are not helpless. You are not a victim to circumstance. You are not triggered. You're activated. No, I'm not a freaking superhero. Go ahead, make jokes. I've heard that one before. But you know what? I say activated because I also consider myself a survivor, not a victim. I used to think I was a victim, which, I mean, if you knew my whole story, you would probably say I have been many times in my life. But I'm not looking for supply like narcissists do. I'm just trying to help you all understand the mental processes of somebody who has gone through this. And now I'm like questioning if I should even publish this video. Like, see, my fear response is kicking in. And this is the mindful work. When you become mindful, you can actually talk yourself through neurodysregulation. And every time I deep dive and do this work, I, one, come out of it stronger, but two, I lose time. I can still function on a basic level and like do things I need to do, and then I can pull myself out of it. But every time I have to reveal and be vulnerable, my brain doesn't like it, and I lose time. Again, I highly suggest you research complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, now I'm like, I can't share this. I'm probably just going to save this for when I'm feeling braver, and maybe it'll be like a throwback video. But I'm going to keep talking for now because I know one day it'll serve a purpose, but I don't think I'm going to publish it today. In fact, I'll probably start over, and maybe I won't. I don't know. I follow my gut because that's what leads me in the right direction. So, yeah. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm sorry. I can't do it. And that's okay. You know what? You gotta forgive yourself. You gotta like take it easy and go at your own pace. Like, we don't have to be pushed or forced into these quick freaking fixes. Like, we can take our time. We owe people nothing. It's our life, it's our reality, it's our existence. And everything outside of that is projections. And right now I'm going to say that because I'm coming from an activated state, and this is calm. Like, if you guys had known what my activated state was 10 years ago, you'd be like, holy shit, who is this person? And I am proud of that. Not because I have a big ego, but because I've built my confidence up from nothing. So that's just a little clip. Maybe I'll share this one day. Maybe I won't. I'm not really sure. Probably. Like, if I'm led to do something, it's usually got a purpose because I follow my intuition. And as soon as you start following your intuition consistently, you realize that it actually does work. But yeah, I just want to leave one last note on the witchy stuff so it kind of makes sense. So I circle back a little. And the empath thing. When you're tuned in to spirit, source, energy. You understand that energy is everything. You feel things that are not even around you. You pick up on things. And I know paranormal sciences are researching this, and they have been since for over a century now. I can't tell you exactly why it works or how it works, but there's an inner knowing that's activated when you are on this level. And as a witch, a pagan, a spiritual practitioner, an animist, a shaman, a healer, I believe everything has an energy. I believe everything has spirit in it. And what is spirit? Spirit is divine presence. It's not just like ghosts and shit. Okay? When I say spirit, source, guide, whatever, spirit is like all encompassing. And as an animist, I do believe that. Animist, you probably know well, is a lot of indigenous cultures. I'm not an indigenous person, so I'm not trying to adopt anyone else's culture. But I will say I am Celtic, I am Norwegian, I'm Irish, Scottish, and a lot of those old beliefs from my ancestors are ingrained with me. And there is shamanism in every culture. And in order to be the healer I need to be empathetic, to be compassionate, I have to tap into that energy, which means I don't live in the same reality as other people. But guess what? Neither do you. We may think that everybody is seeing and feeling the same thing as us, but that's not true. Anyways, that's a topic for another time. So I'll just end this and I'm going to start a new video. Maybe I'll release that one today. But clean up your own energy. If you are coming from a place of constantly talking about other people and how, like, in a negative way, and I'm not saying love and light, let's spiritually bypass here. I'm saying when you have used all your energy unconsciously on talking badly about other people and putting yourself into a victim mentality, and you just go on and on and on and on, guess what? You start neurologically dysregulating, which means you talk in circles, which means you go past the point of healthy venting. Venting is like you talk to your partner and you're like, hey, I had a bad day, honey. And they're like, why'd you have a bad day? And then you go, well, XYZ happened and it really upset me, but thank you for showing up for me. That's healthy venting. Getting supply from things, especially things that are done, instead of looking at yourself and doing your own work. That's part of our society and our culture that is highly narcissistic. And I say narcissistic because I understand, because I had to, in my healing, understand exactly what a narcissist was. And there's nothing more effed up than people who call empaths narcissists. When you're raised by narcissists, you end up having those behavioral patterns until you get help and realize. And I'm not saying that I was a narcissistic person growing up, but I will say that I had a lot of emotional dysregulation that I've owned, that I've taken accountability for, and I had to forgive myself for, and also ask for others' forgiveness. And it's not even as awful as I'm making it sound. Most of the harm has been done on me from myself after going through continuous harm. And I've come to terms with that, and I don't live in that same energy anymore. When I feel a psychic attack coming on, I transmute it. I also return it to sender, by the way, but in equal exchange. I'm not trying to cause extra harm. I'm not hexing anybody. I'm not cursing anybody. I might give you a baneful blessing if you keep hitting me with it. What does that mean? What is a baneful blessing? Well, darling, I'll tell you. A baneful blessing is when you bless somebody with their own behavior. So you hold up a mirror and you go, here you go. This is the harm you're causing. May you see it. May you feel it. May you know it. And may you grow from it. And if you don't, may you never harm me again. You're not allowed. This is an energetic boundary. 90% of the time, I can transmute the energies I'm picking up from other people. And how do I know that these are coming from other people? Like some people who don't get spirituality, who haven't woken up or whatever, don't get how it works. But being a psychic medium, and one of the reasons I realized I'm a psychic medium, other than having precognitive dreams since childhood, occasionally in my life, and having them come true, knowing things that I had no way to know them. But in the last year to 2 years, I started seeing angel numbers everywhere. And what's that? It's like 111, 222, 333, 444. Well, guess what? A couple days ago, I got 12, 12, 12. I have leveled up. Okay. And it's not just, it's a form of language. And other mediums and psychics, like, feel free to leave a comment about your experiences being in this energy, because you know what I'm talking about. Like, there are thousands and thousands of people who experience this. This is not uncommon. I think most people just don't understand what it is. But anyways, because I live in the spiritual realm, because I've come out of deep healing, I experienced consistent synchronicities throughout my day. And it started off as like seeing 111, and I'd Google it. I'd be like, what does 111 mean? And I'd look at like multiple different meanings, and whatever felt right, which is your intuition, by the way, you feel it usually in your solar plexus, sometimes your heart, but like your solar plexus is above your belly button. So your gut, there's a reason people say that, right? Here I was saying I was going to stop talking and get me on a tangent and I'll go. Also, when you're an introvert, like, you just get used to living in your own thoughts. So I'm trying to like put myself out there to be more social and like hear what other people have to say too, which is why I want to help people, because I want to share and hold space for other people's stories. Anyways, so like I'll tell you guys more about my personal stories some other day. But it's really fascinating and interesting, and like some people will think I'm absolutely nuts, and I've come to peace with that, because guess what? People already thought I was nuts. I'm not, though. Yes, that's been validated professionally. You're welcome. And F you if you're questioning that. With love. I'm not vibing at my highest frequency today. Again, when I'm pissed off because of some life events that have been going on, and it's just unbelievably cruel and unjust. And because I'm in a position of power now, and I finally like regain my strength, I'm not letting that stuff affect me, or I'm not being as affected by external circumstances. And it's taken a long time to get to that point, but when you're a practitioner and you have protections around, and there's solid boundaries, and you're not affected by things you used to be, I mean, like psychically, spiritually, like as far as your luck, your ability, like there's certain signs when you get in tune and you know when somebody's psychically attacking you. And that's a video for another day. But my point being is, if somebody is getting past my shields, they're really talking some crap, like to a vulgar, disgusting, lower level, like scum of the mother effing earth way. They've surpassed venting, which is why I say, stop projecting your crap on me. Stop. People don't realize if they were more insightful, they would go, oh, okay, so I think that person is an asshole. Well, why do I think I'm an asshole? It's maybe not the best example, but there's a lot of work to be done here, guys. And if I'm going to get back into my zone, I'm going to need to meditate for a few minutes, do some more breathing, maybe have a little bit of my medicinal cannabis, which, yes, I am a consumer, in case people hadn't picked up on that. I'm also highly intelligent, and I work with plants, so are you really surprised? But I'm not a stoner, okay? There's a lot of stigma around that. I'm also an advocate, not just for cannabis, but for queer rights, for minorities in general, because I know what it's like to be oppressed. I know what it's like to not have your voice heard. And I also educate myself. I'm not ignorant. I'm not just talking out of my butt. Like, everything I've said, I've studied, I've learned, I've experienced. So, I don't know if this video is going to serve you at all. I hope so. I hope something in it resonated with you, because it takes a huge amount of courage to continue to operate in vulnerability. But you know what I realized? That's who I am. I'm actually an incredibly loving, open, vulnerable person, and that's a gift. And I am tired of people putting me down and people like me because they're uncomfortable. So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys. We're at like almost 43 minutes, and I think that's enough. So blessings to y'all. And this is me signing off. Thank you. Thank you for holding space. Goodbye.